darlings, I wanted to pop in and say something on this video. You are going to notice that I've got mascara right here underneath my eye. Could you please, I did not look in the looking glass before I started the next video, and I shot 4 videos in one day, and I had been crying prior to that video that I shot before that. So please ignore the large mascara mark beneath my eye. I apologize for that. I hope you can derive some benefit from the video. Hello darlings, welcome to another broadcast. I am so happy that you're here. I am your favorite mermaid mystic, so I hope you'll pour a cuppa and let's have a little prattle, shall we? Today's video is all about me manifesting that Johnny Depp, my favorite movie star of all time. I don't know why I like him so much. And it's not a weird, you know, some people are like, oh, well, that's obvious that you like him because he's so good looking. And I'm like, no, it's like a brotherly love or something. I don't know, it's weird. And I've always had it. And even as a matter of fact, my ex-husband went on a junket when these movie premieres are coming out. So they have the opportunity to interview the celebrity of said movie. So my ex-husband was going to a Pirates of the Caribbean junket and he was going to meet Johnny Depp. And so I said, you better tell him to look at the camera and say, hello Raquel, like that. And he got in trouble. He actually did it. I had it on DVD for the longest time, but when I got my divorce, no, I wasn't thinking of, get that DVD that says Johnny Depp saying hello to Raquel. But anyway, he did say, hello Raquel, and I've loved him since way before that. Now, and it's never been like, it's not a sexual thing, it's not any of that. It's a very like intuitive, telepathic, sort of weird thing. I don't know, I haven't been able to recognize or understand what it is, because it's just, I feel as though I've known him before. And I remember one of the times, I'm telling you a few little things about this, but this video is basically about how I manifested Johnny Depp joining social media. So I remember he was on the David Letterman show. He loved David Letterman. I want to believe he still likes David Letterman, but at the time, David Letterman had him on as a guest. And this was before, this is when he was doing Rum Diary. Is that what that movie was called? I don't know, where he met his ex, Amber. And I remember he went on there and he was talking all about how he was engaged. He was like, oh yeah. And Dave asked him, hey, you engaged? And he was like, oh yeah, she's a lovely lass and whatever. And I remember thinking, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not going to work out. Like, he's going to get divorced. But obviously that was way back in the day. I think that was like, was that like 2012 or 13? Like somewhere around there. I don't know when he got engaged. I just remember he was engaged on that show, and I remember hearing that for the first time, and I was like, oh no, that's not good. That's not going to work out for him. And that's all. There's no, you know, secret, mysterious thing about that. Well, I remember, and you can actually literally, because I come with receipts, that literally on my blog, I think it was, I want to say it was around January through February and March, somewhere in there. I've got a blog post that I wrote, and I even have it in my diary too, but that's not really actually evidence, because some people say, oh yeah, you just wrote that in there. You know what I'm saying? So the blog post indicates that because of the date that you can go back and look. But I remember saying to myself, oh golly gosh, I really wish Johnny Depp, because I've always thought, because I think that he has tried to write a book, or he's been writing his own book for many number of years. And I've always felt like, oh, I really, really wish you would get on that, Johnny, and write that book. And I also think, here was my thought, okay? This was my thought in my head. is I'm like, wouldn't that be so neat to, if he had like some way of publishing or having books published, and he published that he was the one that bought the rights to all of my little children's books. Because you know, if you know that, 3 of my books already, my manuscripts, all 3 of my manuscripts have characters called Little Johnny in there. You know, you've got Little Johnny in The Tale of the Sawyer Lamb. That's about the black sheep of the family. Then you've got Little Johnny, which is one of the brothers of Mary Maid Scarlet Rose. And the tie-in is obviously Johnny, because my father's name is Johnny. Little Johnny was literally Johnny's name that was Sawyer's English best mate from England. And so it all intertwines, and then Sawyer's birthday is 1 day off of Johnny's, like Johnny Depp's. So Johnny Depp's birthday is June 7th and Sawyer's is June 8th. So obviously I love a Gemini, and I don't know what it is. It sounds absolutely psychotic. I understand that. You're probably thinking, yeah, she is off her bits. But I've been told I've gone mad many times, so it doesn't bother me. I'm like the mad mermaid mystic. You know how Neville used to be called the mad mystic of 67th Street? I'm the mad mermaid mystic, okay? So that doesn't bother me, not a bit at all. So going back to that blog post, I wrote a blog post. Now this is when it was all starting to happen and people were not believing Johnny. This is when everything was starting to happen to him. And I never changed sides of the fence. Do you understand me? He's very big on justice. He's very big on standing up for people that you believe in. I've always stood up for him, and I knew when I heard those video recordings, there was like, it was kind of squashed on the YouTube, like it was suppressed and no one was listening. But I heard one video, and also it never made sense to me because I'm like, that's not his character. Usually there's always someone coming out. It's you know what I'm saying? There's always some circulation of something coming out. If someone has been this particular way, they have a personality of like this, and then out of nowhere, it just didn't ring and have resonance with me. I didn't care that it's not like I switched sides when everyone else. I believe me writing a blog was like one of the only people that even back from the very beginning, I never spoke of it, but I did write on my blog about it because I am not a fence sitter. And when everyone finally realized, and it was proven, now understandably you're going to get those same people that are never going to believe it. They're never going to believe that you could live underwater, but we got submarines, don't we? Or, oh, you can't fly, or you can't go to the moon. Yeah, well, we went to the moon, but there's some people will never believe it, so it doesn't matter. But I always knew in my heart, like, no, that is not his character at all. I don't care what they say. And I was so wanting, and this was me coming roundabout to why I wanted him to start a social media. I remembered having a manifestation, and I was doing meditation one day, and this was around January, February. This is when there was little teeny bubblings coming up, and you couldn't really find anything online. Everything was being suppressed. Nothing was being shown. And I just caught wind of it one day, and I was like, no, absolutely not. And I remember saying, and I meditated on this particular thing that I'm about to tell you, is that I said to myself and in meditation, telepathically, however it happens, I want universal forces to cause Johnny, whether that's through his PR people, his friend, his sister, I don't care how it happens, but he needs to get on social media and have a voice. He's got to have a voice. He has to open his mouth and he has to speak the truth. He's got to speak the truth. And the only way that you could, and I had just come out of, like I said, I'd been out of a narcissistic marriage since 2015. I had gotten my divorce. So I had been on this this wave, my voyage of knowing what that was like. And so trying to establish my own voice is that Johnny seems, I act like I'm talking like I know him or something. I don't. I intuitively think I know somewhat about him, but obviously you never really know someone. But from what I can spiritually, because I'm empathic, can gather, he seems to be the kind of person, even to this day, although he is on social media, which I did manifest, by the way. I manifested literally in that blog post. It says, I want him to have an Instagram account. And I don't know when his first post was. I want to say it's like a month later or something like that. Like, someone could go back and look. I don't even know if I follow him on the Instagram. Do I follow him? But anyway, he literally, I want to say it was like 30 days later, he starts an Instagram account. I manifested it. I don't care what anyone says, like, yeah, you manifested it. Yeah, I did manifest it. I don't care what you think. I don't care what anyone thinks. I know that I manifested it. However it comes to be, I don't care. But I got it because, you know what? I felt like he needed to have that voice. He needed to share his story. That's why it's so important. And maybe it's because somewhere inside of me, I would never share my voice. And until I got my blog and really started blogging about my truth and what it's like to live with someone that's, psychologically abusive, and they get to keep carrying on that story. And if you don't have a voice, and that chakra is completely closed in, you are going to forever be a victim. Like, you're never going to be able to get out of that and have a stronghold on it if you don't become use your own voice. So that is my little story about Johnny Depp manifesting. Oh my God, this is, should I even post this video? It sounds absolutely embarrassing. But anyway, yes, big fan of, I don't know if you would call it a fan, because I mean, like, if I saw him at the beautiful little bookshop in England, I would just be like, oh, hello mate, how are you? I wouldn't do anything abnormal, because I think that that's a little bit, because I don't worship him or anything like that. Like, I would just be a normal person, like, hey mate, what's up, I don't know what my fascination with is of him. It was never like I was like, ooh, teen beat, or anything like that. Like, it's a very mature, highly respectable, like him, but that's about it. You know what I'm saying? But like, I feel like he could be like a brother. I think is he 9 years older than me? He seems to be such a gentle, sweet spirit. And probably people are like, yeah, love, everyone says that about him, No, but I really believe that. Like, Geminis are such intriguing figures, Sawyer was very much like that. The only thing that Sawyer ever got bothered about me as his mommy would be like, we had a really, really tight relationship, right? We texted, 4 times a week or whatever. But obviously he was respectful and like not tell mommy certain things. But then some days when he was really having a go or having a hard time in life, he would always confide in me. Pisces tend to get on Gemini's nerves in the way that they don't want to hear us go on and banging on about something. Like, if I'm having a go with you, like as my son, and I'm saying, this is what you need to do. You've got to ditch that gal. I'm sorry. I know she's a lovely person. I'm sure she's great and wonderful, but she's not good for you. She's going to be the death of you, love. Well, that came to pass, didn't it? A woman is going to be the death of you. I said that to him one time, and I'm like, shit, did I manifest my son getting murdered? I was thinking one day he was having a really, really difficult time with his girlfriend, Olivia, back in the day. And I remember him, she was really, really off her marbles. She had gone mad. And I just said, we can't keep tolerating this kind of behavior. This is out of control, And she had come over, and then they got in a big argument, and she was volatile. And I just said, you know what? Girl's going to be the death of you, love. A woman is going to be the death of you. You can't find the right one. What is the problem? Stop trying to save all these wounded birds, my darling. That's what I told him. Stop trying to save all these wounded birds. I said, you need to save self. That's what you need to do, my darling son, is to save self. And then you won't need to always find these wounded, birded women that you want to rescue. You want to save them. And I said, you can't do it, love. But it didn't work, unfortunately. He lost his life because of a woman, but his life has not been in vain, because, you know, I wrote a book about him, and I know many, many people in the world are going to know about my son Sawyer. So I'm very happy about that. And Sawyer's happy too, you know. He's very happy up in the stars. He's right with us probably right now. So that is my story about manifestations. But I just thought that it was fun to share that success story. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, might you give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to, or share it with someone. And as always, I'm most affably yours till my next swim. Cheers, darlings. Toodle pip.